Alright, today we're going to take a ride through the east side campsites at Sadler's Creek State Park. This is a much older side of the campsite, or at least appears to be. We'll make it a fairly quick ride. There are a lot of spaces. One thing to point out and watch out for is the road around the campsite. It's not in the best shape. And we won't be pulling into every campsite. This is space 51, and notice it's a back in from the wrong direction. There are several around here that seem to back in from the wrong direction on a road that appears to be fairly one-way. In space 52, the campground host has done a very nice job blowing off all the empty sites. Makes it easy to see where the driveway is. See, this is not a very untypical site. The driveway is not in very good shape. But this first row of sites is all backed up to the woods, fairly private, spread out nicely. All these seem to be sloping up towards the back. Here in site 55, it looks like when it rains, the water might run through most of the site. And 56, nice private site, other than whatever this building is across the street. Lots of woods behind. 57. Lovely route right at the entrance. These sites would do well with a tent, but not so well with trailers. Alright, 58, we finally have one that's turned the right direction to back up into. The route's in the driveway, not very flat. 59 would appear to be a bit of a pond when it rains. '60 is a nice deep spot, lots of privacy. We'll ride back in this one just to see what's here. Alright, and we have power. There's the water over sharing with the next door neighbor. '61, a nice grassy drive. Lovely woods behind. And 62, which is right across from the bathhouse. Very convenient. Dump station next door. Not very appealing for my campsite. And a campground host. '63. Has a not sure if that's a tent spot or what that is. Lovely smell coming from the dump station. I I guess these must all be tent sites. 64, 65. Back up to the woods nicely and right along the road. Not a lot of privacy. That is 66. We passed 67, we have 68, 69, 70 is occupied. We'll come down here and take a quick look at 71 and 72. Alright, that is 71 and 72. And now the road starts to wander a little bit more. '73 looks like it's a pull through, maybe. It's a really tight turn in the middle if it's a pull through. 74 is a nice back end. 76 is occupied. 75 must be a pull through because the water and power are on this side. Again, fairly tight. 77 is a pull through. 78 is a back end. '79 is a pull through, and we have a bathhouse right here. Nice tree root in the middle of the pull through, and when you get in, trees kind of in the way to make turns. 81 is a pull through. Lots of tree roots at the beginning. Nice spot, nice wooded area in your living area. Okay for a small site, for a small trailer. 80 is occupied. 83. Lots of roots, very tight getting in. But you can back in, and it's a nice back in. A little bit of slope uphill as you back in, downhill as you leave. Power panel right in your living room. Lots of woods and a little bit of view of the lake. 85 is another pull through. We'll roll through this. Somebody stuck the water kind of in the middle of the way. It really becomes a back end if it's anything large. A little bit better view of the lake and a more private living area. 84 looks like it's washed out a good bit, but that's 84 right there. 86 is the one that's blown off so neatly over here on the inside of the road. This is 87, which is another pull through. And I think all the way out to the lake becomes your living area with a tent. So lots of nice space, nice private area, and beautiful view of the lake. Pull-through aspect does not work very well for a long trailer. Okay, and now we are at the lakefront. And these sites are on the back side of the road. So the road goes between the campsite and the lake. I'm not sure. I think this site picks up with our other loop, but we'll come up here and see what our number is. Yes, that's 114, so we'll come back and see it in a little bit. More of the winding road, but it's a little bumpy. Seem to be doing some construction on the bathhouse. The trees on either side of the road make this one a little difficult. Not too bad, but most of the trees have been hit a time or two. And this stretch of the driveway gets really tight. Now this is space 88. It has been blown off. You can see the ruts at the entrance to the driveway and the roots going up in. 90 is occupied over here. A nice site out on the water side. 89. I don't really understand the water and the power that appear to be in the middle of the site. '91 looks fairly flat, easy to get into. This is one of these turns that you go around that the trees kind of get in the way. 92 is uphill to get in, kind of rough terrain, but right up in here. It's kind of interesting. It's a bit of a gravel drive in, and the whole campsite's blown off and looks to be just hard dirt. Kind of sandy clay. Alright, and we will stay on the lakefront with space 93 through 104. Looks like it could be a pull through, but I'm sure it's not. '94, a little short spot, but easy to get in and out of, and a nice view. 95. This is 96, very close to a bathhouse. A little short space. But a good bit of room if you use the other side there. '97. Now, if you're going to bring a trailer in here, if you're not very good at backing, there's a tree that's right in the way. '98, uphill all the way in, but not too bad. '99. 100 is occupied out here with the fishermen. There's 99 again. And 101 is occupied with this camper. But a nice size site. They've done a good job getting the camper out of the way in that site. And 102, nice size site with a fifth wheel in it. 103 is here next to the woods, and 104 is this one kind of out here right at the entrance to the campground. The dump station is back halfway into the campground. And we'll make our second trip down this road. To get to the two inner loops. Okay, now we'll pick up site 105, which is down this little loop. That's 105. Looks like it might get a little damp in the rain, but very nice spot. 106 is occupied. Nice wooded, kind of quiet spots. I didn't see a number on that one. I think that's actually on the other loop, but I didn't see 106. Alright, so 107 is this one. Water and power are a long way away. .08. Again, water and power kind of a long way away. 109 is a pull through for something very small. Again, the water's a long way. Water and power are not very convenient. 111 is a pull through. We'll ride through it. Not only has it not been blown out, but it looks a little rough. Right, 113. Not real sure how you're supposed to do this. It's set up sort of like a pull through. Water and power are in the back. The water's flagged. And I guess you can pull through and then back up to your water and power. Don't know. 112. Not a pull through. Not much of a driveway to get in. And 114 is a pull through. Sort of. Alright, and now we go back down to the other end of the campground to get to 115. Through 119. This is one of those roads that somebody didn't design with campers in mind. It's place 115 that's occupied. 116 is a pull through. This whole row is for little bitty campers. .17, and you could drive through it, but you won't pull through it with a trailer. I'm not sure I could get my truck to go through it without a trailer. 118 is much better pull through, but the driveway's in horrible shape. On the other hand, the whole road through this section is in horrible shape. $119. Again, a pull through for something really short. A lot of these spaces would do real well with tents, but not very well with anything other than about a teardrop size. Alright, that gets us through site 119. Back to the main loop again. And back up to the dump station again. And sites 120 through 147. 121 is the host. 120 is a nice flat spot. 22 as well. 24 is occupied. 23, nice back in. Numbering's a little out of whack here. 26 is an easy back in, but I will tell you this loop road is tight. 125. With the trees on either side, you know, don't back anything big in, but it's a nice spot. 128, again a tree on both sides, and looks like it's had standing water in it. 127, more standing water, much easier to get into. You'd actually get a decent sized camper backed into that. 129, looks like it's had a good bit of standing water in it, but easier to get into. 130 is very easy to get into, and since they've taken out a tree, a little bit even easier to get into. 131 is occupied by this motorhome that seems to be in it backwards. Interesting. And 132, again, trees on both sides, but a nice site if you can get in. 133 is a pull through. Move the picnic bench, you could pull just about anything through, but you could back in without a problem. 134 is an easy back in, nice big spot. And here we start getting into some of the really tight trees. The overhang's a little scary. 135, not much of a site, and appears to be in the construction site. And you can see we have some large campers back here, or at least one really large camper, so somebody's managed to get in here with something big. That's 136, and 137 has this tent. And 138. That's 140. That camper's more the size I would think you'd want to bring to most of these spots. 139. And you can see they've gotten a large camper in, so there's room to do it, it's just tight. 142 has a large camper in it and a large boat or two. 141 is an easy back in. 144 doesn't look like it gets used much, but nice tent spot. 143, Again, trees in the way. Something small or a tent. Or come in from the other side. 146. Nice downhill across some large roots into the spot. 145. A fairly gentle slope up and in. Looks pretty easy to get to. There is a tree on the corner, but it's fairly open other than that. 147. It's a hard turn down into it. But a nice spot when you get in there. Again, better suited for a tent. Alright, and now I have to go find 146. So we'll go ride down the wrong way on this road and see if that doesn't get us back out in the right location. Okay, now we're at site 148. Not too bad of a back-end site. Very convenient for whatever this large activity building is. And appears to have sewer. Space 149. Looks pretty easy to get into. Decent sized site. 150. Easy to get into. Nice sized site. And depending on your neighbors, a really nice view of the lake through the trees. That's 150. That must be 151. That has sewer. I think that's our host. 153. Fairly small. A little muddy at the entrance, but not too bad. 152. Not a bad site to get into. Nice outdoor area and a nice view of the lake. Again, there's a camper between you and the lake, but still a nice view. And a bathhouse right here. 154. Looks kind of like they're using it as a pull-through, which is probably a good idea. Makes it much easier to get in and out. Now 155 and 156. 155 I would have to say would be a handicap access site if you're going to have one out here, because you are in the bathhouse. Don't know that I'd like to be in the bathhouse, but that's where you are. 156. Pretty easy back in. Fairly flat. Got a bit of a water leak out of the hose. $157 looks like it's an easy back in. Not too bad of a site. You got a neighbor not very far away. And 158 doesn't look too hard to back in, but somebody's left plenty of tree roots right at the entrance. Alright, and I think that's all of them. At which point we'll call it a day. Thank you for watching.